Suicide Squad reactions are in. Justice League is Justice League. Gordon gets jacked and Superman returns to television. Today on DC Movie News.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's DC Movie News.
A wop bop a loo bop, a wop bam boom. All right, that's the new intro. That is live from the home office. That's the new intro in honor of the new Green Lanterns. That's just it. That's just how it's going to be. Once again, we are here. We are back. We are not the typical squad. We're a new squad. It's me and the ladies. That's always a good thing to be. I'm always happy about that. Mike Kalinowski could show up. Maybe not. We don't know. A lot of you want to hear him talk about Rebirth. I've been reading Rebirth. We'll maybe have that conversation. And for those of you concerned that without Mike here, there'll be no one for me to antagonize and fight with, we don't know. I've never met Elena before. I
feel like it's going to go down.
I think it's going to go. I don't even like the way you're looking at me right now. Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for filling in today. I'd like to introduce you to Elena Jordan.
Hey guys, I'm Elena Jordan.
And you're coming back for the second time, so we didn't scare you off, clearly.
Yes, I'm very glad to be back, so thanks for having me.
So what's your deal? Why are you here?
My deal...
He's trying to pick a fight with you early, so what's your deal?
What's your deal, besides being, like, all, cute and bubbly and everything?
With a really good outfit on, yeah.
Stop it.
What's your deal?
What's your deal?
See, clearly the worst. You guys are awful. I'm surprised I wasn't
I'm
scared.
the worst. That's my caption. I make sausages. Stop.
Yeah, I'm a host here for Popcorn Talk Network. You can check out later on tonight. We're doing another episode of the Con Guys, talking about Comic-Con. The various
and
Comic-Cons.
that's not con guys as then the men of con. It's like con guys, Guise, like you're disguise.
No, like guys, like, hey guys, let's all go to the con.
But you're not
Yeah.
conning
Like
people,
like
you're
con
Comic-Con
man,
talking with the guys.
Con man would have been the best pun, but it was taken by Nathan Fillion, and Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, that's right.
We love Nathan Fillion here.
Yes, I
Johnny
haven't seen that
does the
show, but I
most.
want to see that. Yeah,
It's good, so I approve.
it's good. All right, you know her. She is the crown jewel of the DC Movie News show.
Adam, do it again and sound more excited.
All right, you know her because she's the crown jewel of the DC Movie News show. It's Roxy Striar.
Adam, come on.
Hey, Roxy Striar.
Usually you give me a nice warm welcome. I feel like you're so sad to be sitting with me today.
No, I'm just...
Because I'm no Mikey Christmas. I'm no Jay
I
Quasto.
miss Mikey Christmas.
I miss Mikey Christmas too.
That's right. Well, welcome. How are you doing, Roxy? What's going on with you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. You never know the possibilities on the show. We might have some surprise guests come in. We might not.
I'll tell you who's not going to be here because he's on a bus to Rhode Island, is it?
From Boston.
From Boston to Rhode Island. He's exploring all of New England. Jonny Loquasto at Jay Quasto is not here.
But really cool, we had a fan in the chat earlier, Adam Rosen, who said he was going to watch him perform in Long Island tonight. So
Long Island City, which is actually Queens, which is near
Long
Astoria
Island
where I used to live. But I'm from Long Island. I used to live in Long Island City, so I know what you're talking about. So
Very cool.
Thank you, Adam Rosen, for supporting Quasto. Let us know how that show goes. And as we said, Mikey Christmas may show up, may not. I'm Adam Gertler. Welcome to the show, guys. So we're getting really close to the release of the second, I call it the second, I guess technically it's the third DCEU film, Suicide Squad, and it's all about Suicide Squad right now. So our first few pieces of items of news are going to relate to Suicide Squad. I guess most important to note is that there's been more screenings and there have been more reactions, and they seem to be overwhelmingly positive. Ladies, I want to posit to you, do you think these reactions are true? How do you think of them? Have you absorbed them? What are you disseminating from what you're hearing? What are your thoughts, ladies?
Elena, what's up?
I cannot wait for this movie. I have countdown to August 5th going, and every single review that comes in just makes me like it more.
57 days, is it something like this?
Yeah, it is on us. The time is coming. I feel like the fan reviews are really the only thing that I care about. I think a lot of the critics are probably dissuaded just because, they typically like to tear into our genre a little bit before they have the full info. And I kind of think, too, just the style of it, coming off of a darker movie like BVS, then having what is slightly more Marvel in the marketing, I think is really what the critics have been, they want it to not be good, I think. And having the reshoots with kind of switching stuff up in Act 3, I mean, the fans are really all I care about, and everything that I've heard has been.
So what do you think about
positive.
these actual reviews, though? Like, did you get to see any of the quotes of what some of the people were saying, like calling out Harley Quinn, saying that Batman was like the animated series Batman?
Yes.
Which to me is like one of the best iterations of Batman of all time. So that to me makes me really happy. Roxy, what do you think from what you've heard?
Other ones calling out David Ayer, saying he's genius, that he did a great job on the film.
Great.
So, you know that I always bring it back to this, but everybody tweeted how awesome Fantastic Four was.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
Yeah,
we got a bunch of tweets about Fantastic Four is the greatest.
I really don't think it's the same thing with that, though, because that was all from one screening. This is from multiple screenings.
I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm saying that until it's out, until somebody I know has seen
but
it,
these
somebody
weren't all
I trust.
positive, though. Some of them had some negative things to say. So, I mean, does that make it seem like it's less?
No, it doesn't, because what I'm saying is until somebody I know has seen it, until it is out, until I've seen it myself, I'm trying right now to just think, all right, from what I have seen of this film, it looks great. From what I've heard the actors talk about, it looks great. I think it's going to be a great film. Whether somebody tweets in 140 characters that it is or not, these random people that I've never met before.
But these weren't all tweets, actually. Some of them had a lot more characters than 140 going on. Do you have any of those reviews handy?
Yeah, the Reddit reviews, they had several that were talking about.
Why don't you call one of those out? Let's dive into one of those Reddit reviews if you got it in front of you there.
Yeah, let's pull this up. I know a lot of the main feedback was talking about how amazing Harley is, which is
I have it up if you
what
want.
made me very, very excited. Yeah, there's...
all right, this was an advanced screening where we didn't know what the movie was. Initially, I thought it was Trek. IDR, born until the NDA, said Warner Brothers on it. I will tell you that there was no standing ovation, but a decent amount of people clapped in the end. In fact, when they first told us we were going to see a screening of the movie, pretty much the whole theater cheered and screamed. At the end, probably only half clapped, which doesn't mean the other half didn't like it. But if this was like a Thursday night showing with fanboys, I have no doubt it would have been a much bigger applause. This is an unfinished cut. There's a lot that I really liked, good action, pacing for the most part, but as I've said, there were two characters who had a decent-sized role in the plot/story that did not connect with me. I could care less about them. I wonder who those two are.
Interesting.
Any guesses?
I think maybe Enchantress. I know Enchantress has got a big storyline in this film. So if there's one character that I'm like a little unsure of because we've seen so much of it, I'm thinking Enchantress because I know she kind of happens sort of in the background and separately
she's
gets
a decent sized role, not lead,
and gets sucked into this magic thing. And then I think that she's going to play a part in the antagonist. We also don't really know who the antagonist was, if it's a result of some of the fallout of BVS, if it has anything to do with Darkseid.
Right.
We know this movie takes place after that, so we still don't know, which I think is kind of a good thing.
This person continues on. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we know the eyes of the adversary, but that's about it. Is all that we know that they're going to encounter.
Yeah.
And then it's a multiple villain scenario.
Right. So this user continued on to say, and it's So Yodu says, they tried for an emotional scene and didn't work. But yes, walking out, I've heard a few people raving about it and a few just pretty good. The person I was sitting next to came with his family and he didn't even know the movie after they announced it. Older guy. And he said it was okay. I didn't stick around to hear if anyone had said anything else bad.
This is, I think that was actually, the reactions you're reading are from the first one. The more recent reactions, here's
This is
one.
from June 3rd.
Yes, there was, yes, I think there was even one after that. I have one here that I thought was kind of interesting. I can swear to you on this one is different from someone who hasn't even liked the past three DC film releases, Dark Knight Rises, Man of Steel, and BVS, to which, you know, I'm sort of in that camp, sort of not. I actually have come around to liking Man of Steel a lot more than I used to, with the exception of the few plot points I really hate.
I love Rises.
I don't love Rises, but that's really only because it's compared to the other two films. This person says this is the best DC film since The Dark Knight, which some may see as faint praise. I wouldn't expect it to be better than The Dark Knight, so I remain cautiously optimistic. But also related to Suicide Squad, we have some new pictures that we've seen that have been released in various different magazines. I know Total Film had some going on. Let's see. Can we get a look at any of these pictures that we're checking out right now?
Bad Company.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Which magazine is this from? I think this might be the Total Film stuff. There was one magazine
Film, yeah.
that released some pictures and then actually asked for them to be brought down. So we see Air on the school set. Directing here. I love Will Smith's look in this film. All right, here we have some of that black, demonic, googly goo stuff that the crew is going to be going up against.
Yeah.
That, and then the Soul Sword. Now, this I thought was interesting. Joel Kinnaman's character, Rick Flag, works with Katana, and she's already got the Soul Talker sword. So there's always there's already this supernatural element before he even confronts the squad.
Right. I feel like we just have not heard that much about Katana in this film. I even more about Enchantress and Harley, but in terms of the people in this film that we haven't heard that much about, this is our main person.
The next thing, there were some good comments from both Jai Courtney and Margot Robbie, if you could bring these up, about their characters. And I thought they were really cool because this is a little bit of a... fans of the film would know what she's talking about here, but Margot Robbie talks a little bit about the psychology of Harley Quinn, and obviously this is a character where her psychology is a defining trait, and her relationship with the Joker with regard to this film and regard to her bigger picture. And then Jai Courtney also has some comments about Boomerang, as he calls him Boomer. I don't think they're calling him Captain Boomerang, by the way. I think it's just Boomerang, which makes sense. Were you able to find the links to that?
Them. From what I just saw.
I have the one where she's talking basically about the character, how she wanted to make sure that she kept the bubbliness, the quirkiness, but also kept it darker as per the film's vision. And mostly just her talking about how much she loves playing the character and how she said, I'm not done playing this character. I'm going to keep playing her until my body gives out and I can't anymore.
She also referred to the idea that her character has this weakness for the Joker. Like, this is where, so it's a
and
real...
their codependence is a real mental illness, and you start seeing that progress, which that's my favorite thing about Harley, is seeing from her transition from Harleen Quinzel, from this renowned psychologist who's on the opposite side, to then being lured in by the Joker and literally... the comic Mad Love, where she was introduced, she is the epitome of mad love.
And I sort of feel like we're going to get a lot of Harley independent of the Joker, where we're going to see at her most confident, at her strongest, and then I feel like we could find her confronting the Joker and losing that and battling with that, which is why there's a lot of meat there potentially.
I think we have to see that because from what people are talking about, she steals this film. So we have to give her the opportunity to steal the film, which means that we have to see her at both extremes. We have to see her one way, and then we have to see her completely transition. That what makes for an incredible performance. So I agree, Adam, that we're going to see the juxtaposition of those two things.
And I wish Mikey Kalinowski was here because he'd fight me on this. I'm one of those people that have loved everything I've seen of Boomerang so far in all the trailers, and by no means...
Why, 'cause he doesn't like the humor?
He doesn't like Jai Courtney, I think. No, but he just thought it was editing. He just thought that it wasn't like
right,
a great performance.
This.
It was
It
editing.
was timing,
which, of course it is. And look, the movie could suck, and it could have had great trailers. We all know that's potential. But I didn't even like Jai Courtney in Spartacus because he had this stupid blonde curly hair, and I'm like, he just looks like this big doughboy man muscle bubble child.
What if I kept telling you guys?
What?
You have to see the series that he's good in.
Which is what?
You know, it's the Insurgents, all that, the Divergent series. That's what he's bombing.
No, Roxy.
Yes,
no,
sir.
I don't believe what you're saying. I've seen these films.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh my God.
I'll bring it back right now, and I will tell you he is amazing.
You just lost all of our...
the Divergent series. He is fabulous. I love him.
You just lost all of our UK clientele. You were warned by all of our fans in the UK not to do that accent again.
Did you see our YouTube comments about how awesome my accent was?
I was a little afraid to go look at YouTube comments after last week's show. I thought I was going to get a little beat up, so I avoided it.
No, you didn't. People love you, Adam.
Well, listen, I do want to apologize. When I said that, I think I said online that, Batman doesn't lead with fear, I meant that he was not afraid. Of course he uses fear. That's his main tactic. But he doesn't react out of fear, which is what, a real hateful person like a Donald Trump does. Not getting political, guys. Not doing it. But
I found more quotes from
Did you find the Jai Courtney thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jai Courtney explained that Captain Boomerang is a big a-hole. Here's the quote. He's sexist, he's racist, he's a total piece of shit. And that's something I've embraced fully, Courtney said. It's Boomer's job to state the obvious, do the wrong thing, and annoy everybody with his ignorance.
Yes.
Come on, guys. Doesn't that sound awesome?
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
I'm excited to see it.
It sounds awesome.
By the way,
you
also-
don't usually hear actors talk about.
I know.
Talk about characters like that.
And we're going to show the Suicide Squad. We got more Suicide Squad to talk about. I did want to take it aside. So I was in Birmingham, Alabama, not
Hey,
England.
that's where I'm from.
Really?
Yeah, small world. That's
It was
crazy.
great. I was at a
You guys
wedding
were supposed
last
to
week.
be fighting, remember?
No, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, Mikey and I used to like each other too. So I'm flying to Birmingham, and I'm reading a Suicide Squad comic, because you do, because I no longer have fear of adults judging me when I bust out a comic on the plane because whatever. So this guy's like,
Did you used to?
Sometimes a little bit. But so this guy says to me, like, I'm traveling with a group of musicians who just worked on the score for that film. And then I finally modestly found out that he was, in fact, one of those musicians as well. So he didn't get to hear the film, but he actually had just spent a couple of days on the film working on the soundtrack. And he thought it looked really cool. I mean, he thought it looked better than the X-Men films, which he had worked on. He worked on the past 2 X-Men films, too. And what's really funny is this was not a guy who was into this world at all. He couldn't care less, so I don't take his judgment of the film to mean anything. But it was just so random. This guy's like a chamber musician, and like they show up and they just like sight read the stuff. And I forgot the name of the composer, but like they're up in the booth, and then they have the conductor. It was just so wild and random. So that's why you should always bust out your comics and read them in front of people.
Always.
There's a new last night during the NBA Finals. I think that's the thing. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers won a game. Congratulations.
Yeah, they did, but everybody knew they were going to win this game.
They had to win a game, right?
Yeah.
But during that game, and perhaps which helped spur them to victory, was this new Suicide Squad spot, a 30-second spot.
Our first TV spot.
This is the first
TV.
TV spot. So the sound. So I'm hearing that the sound is not quite working on this spot. So we're not going to look at it, but you can easily look at it yourself.
It exists
And you see
on
the new
tube of
DC
views.
logo, which looks awesome.
Yes.
The Technicolor.
It does.
I saw a lot of hate for this logo.
Really?
A
I
lot
loved it.
of mixed
I'm
reviews.
coming
I
around
thought
to
it
it.
looked pretty sweet.
I think it looks awesome. I want it as a
wait,
shirt.
specifically the Suicide Squad
Yes.
out one?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
heard the
Suicide
hate
Squad
from?
out.
Yeah, a lot of hate on Twitter. I saw that.
Guys, all I have to say is like
People
there's
were like,
enough
it
stuff
looks
to
really
hate.
groovy.
Let's choose our hate.
it.
What is it?
I love it for that reason. I'm like, look at all the promotion. It looks
Yeah.
like watercolor.
I think we're
looks
gonna
like...
give it a shot. And even if we have no volume.
All right, we got it, guys.
Simple task force of the most dangerous people on the planet. They're bad
Hi,
guys,
Waller.
worst of the worst.
Yeah.
I love the way they use the sound editing in these trailers.
And I like that line
That
added of
shot with
Harley's.
her with the guns is intense.
Yeah. The voices, the damn voices. August 5th, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh!
Bad guys.
I mean,
Yes.
For a
listen,
TV spot, pretty good.
I'm just saying. Listen, once again, we find ourselves in this position. August 5th, we could be here saying, like, oh man, what has DC done to us? But
Yeah.
right now, I am peaking with excitement.
I'm
and
all
that,
about it.
That looks great. Now, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that, unlike with a lot of the BVS spots, they don't seem to be giving us a lot of plot.
No.
Which is what we want.
Really good
I
thing.
think that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
I hope that's a good thing.
We just
'cause,
need
like,
enough to get people to the theater. Like, look, this movie looks badass. Come see it, and then we'll tell you
if
more.
this movie delivers how we want it to deliver, I think maybe we can get away from. There's enough eye candy here. Like, we don't need to show plot stuff. Like, I basically, after the first trailer for Captain America, I stopped even looking. Just because I was like, listen,
You know,
I
not
love
me.
those movies, and I don't need to see anymore. And like with this, I'm analyzing every frame because I'm not, I'm just like, look, I need to know, and I need to know. But I agree. Harley Quinn looks awesome. It all looks really,
love it.
really awesome.
I'm so excited that they're gonna do the spinoff too, and I think it's actually a good thing that they announced that they're working on the Harley centered one.
Yes, at the time when they announced it, and I will fight with you, I wasn't a fan of that announcement because I thought, like, listen, if they know it's going to be great, then why not announce it after the film gets out?
But see, I think that's because now they can generate buzz and be like, look how much our actors care about the role that they're playing.
Yeah.
That they are investing their own money, that they're taking this initiative. This is such a big thing. You don't need plot. Look how much we as a studio and all of the people working on it feel strongly about it,
I'm
go see it.
somewhere between you guys, but I do think it helped that
You are physically, like,
I
very
am,
much
literally
in the middle.
Yes.
But I think it did help that she presented it to the studio. Like, this is something I would like to do, as opposed to the studio pushing this on. Like, we need to do this because we need to damage control very fast. So, we'll see, though.
Again, I was just gun
Morris.
shy about hearing about the R-rated BVS cut before that film came out.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? Why do we need that? So listen, I hope I'm wrong. And look, it sounds like we're going to be getting a lot more Harley until her body falls apart. So, which I don't think is happening anytime soon.
No.
There's been a lot of talk about who's not going to be at Comic-Con this year. You're not going to see a big Marvel presence. You're not going to see a Fox presence, but you will see Warner Brothers. In fact, it was just announced, I believe today, that there will be an entire Suicide Squad Hall H presentation happening at Comic-Con. There will be the Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego, which will be converted into a 6,000 square foot representation of Belle Rev.
Sweet.
The facility where the squad is held, where Task Force X is held before they're put into the squad. There's also, and this is where you come into play, and Elena, I know this is exciting to you. I think I just told you about this. Apparently, if you go online, you check out dccomics.com/squad up on Twitter, Instagram, and online. There is a cosplay contest of some kind, and they're going to bring fans to Comic-Con, airfare, the whole Megillah, and you're gonna get all that. So there's a big contest going on. Suicide Squad is pulling out all the stops, which is great because I believe it's one week before it opens.
Well, yeah, Comic-Con ends on July 21st or something, and then August
2
6th,
weeks.
So 2 weeks.
So we got 2 weeks till the opening of the film, and I'd be damn surprised if there isn't a secret screening at Comic-Con.
100%.
Yeah, I feel like there will definitely
There's
be.
definitely
life
gonna be.
goals, get me in it.
Yeah, I mean, squad goals should be definitely.
Squad goals.
Suicide Squad goals.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
that's definitely gonna happen.
Hey, we were just talking about what would make you take a road trip down there.
Right, because
that
I
would
would.
make you take a trip
Oh my
down
God.
there.
Yeah, if there's any way, if I get any inside dope on a Suicide
If I get
Squad.
the invite +1, you my +1, baby.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You all heard it here. I'm the +1. I could be coming to Comic-Con after all. Here's a little interesting news from our, head of all things DC, the chief creative officer, Jeff Johns.
Who could you possibly be talking about?
He announced that Justice League, this was the tweet, the Justice League movie will be titled Justice League.
Well, because did you see all of the frickin' buzz about it? But he wrote
Right,
this as a response.
because there was a heroic Hollywood or a...
He wrote this as a response to people starting to guess the name of the movie.
Right.
And it got, outlandish. People were just throwing things out there, and then other
When
people
does
were
the internet ever get
people were
outlandish?
Is that confirmed? And people were like, yes, confirmed. And he was just, I think this was damage control in a good way. Whoa, before anybody shouts anything out, it's just Justice League. That's the name of the movie.
Okay, now, here's the thing. I've heard some people speculate about this. Now, I heard somebody on Twitter, I believe Wiseass Harry at AOL.com responded to me like, oh, yeah, because Justice League being called Justice League is big news. But the idea that he said...
Was that sarcasm?
That was sarcasm.
Got it.
He didn't say... Jeff Johns didn't say the first Justice League movie will be called Justice League. He said the Justice League movie will be titled Justice League. So I ask you, does this mean... Listen, we know that there's going to be a lot of schedule shakeups. We know we have a Batman solo movie. We know we have some other projects that are being announced all over the place. Do you think the plans for Justice League 1 and 2 kind of separated just by a year are changing a little bit? Or do you think this is just looking a little bit too into the verbiage of Jeff Johns, who is a very skilled award-winning writer and chooses his characters very carefully?
Right, and didn't say this in an interview, rather tweeted this and thought it out. What exactly would it being called, the Justice League movie being called Justice League, change about the two films, though? Are you suggesting that it's
Just
actually
that he
one
didn't
film?
say the first film. Yeah, I'm saying that right now they're in production on a Justice League film, and this Justice League, what I'm suggesting, and I'm saying might be possible, is because of the way they're restructuring things, maybe they're going to make this a Justice League film and not go right into the Justice League film as they more carefully plan the rest of the universe that they have. They're not going to maybe hold themselves to the schedule and the lineup of films that was announced to shareholders 2 years ago at this point, and now they're actually planning the universe a little bit more carefully. That's all I'm suggesting.
What do you think about that?
I think it's more just he had a limited number of characters, honestly. I think it was just because it literally said just to clear up any misconception, The Justice League movie is called Justice League. Thanks, then tagged people. So
I don't know, chat roll. What do you guys think? Comment in the section above. What do you think? Jeff Johns chooses his words carefully. It's all I'm saying. Do you think that the 1 and 2 are still on schedule or not?
I'll let you know.
Listen, I know we have the Batman movie that is definitely getting the fast track, and all I'm saying is it wouldn't surprise me, much like what the one who everybody like hated. What was his name? Oh God, guy who made the announcement that he thought that Zack Snyder was going to leave. That I got all the hit from Hero. From
who said that the Zack Snyder was going to leave?
I think I just had a stroke.
Oh,
Drew at Hitfix.
Oh.
That guy.
Oh, and then he got all the
Drew
hate
McQueenie.
after.
Yeah, he got all the hate after that.
Yeah,
He pretty much suggested that this exact thing was going to happen. And all I'm saying is,
all right,
I wouldn't be surprised if a Batman movie
never hated on him, though.
No, I never did. Because I didn't think he was being judgmental. I think he was being opinionated.
Can I tell you what every single person from the start of of the show today has been talking about in the chat for like going on and on about?
Because I haven't seen it, so please tell me.
Is that Commissioner Gordon picture?
Well, that is the next. Okay. Well, I'm glad you brought it up. If you look at this, J.K. Simmons, he likes to exercise a little bit. So
when you Adam, you sent this. Was it you or Mike that sent this in a text earlier this week?
Mike.
Mike sent this to us, and I looked at it really quick and was like, "Oh, somebody photoshopped a picture. This is funny." I cannot believe that this is a real effing photo. You're kidding me.
Can I qualify just this picture once? Because if you listen to, and I don't know, if you can find the name of the trainer.
Aaron Williamson.
Okay, so what Aaron said was that this particular picture, the reason he looks so large is because he's wearing that metal band, which I think is called an ab blaster, maybe, and that's what's like kind of going into his triceps, so his tricep muscles are being pressed out. If you look at another of the series of pictures, he looks shredded as McGillicuddy, but he does not look as huge. So that is just
That's
a little
true.
bit of like,
It was
it's
just
like,
these too
it's like
many
if I were to
other
do this
pictures.
move here, you know, not that I need to, but you see like, it's a little bit of it's a little booster kind of thing.
It's a booster gold belt.
It's a booster gold, yeah. I also heard someone else saying like, "Oh, these pictures might not have been
like
super
that one.
recently," but I think they are.
I don't care when. I don't care how. I
Yeah.
don't care anybody to take away any credit from this man.
There you go.
And
Look
how
at this
hard
picture right
he is
here
freaking-
that-
Funny
No,
to
I saw
me.
this picture,
Yeah.
but he's like an older dude who's getting yoked for his role and looks awesome and is killing it.
62.
Right.
Like
Well-
he, the funny thing is, a lot of the comments though, because Aaron put this on his Twitter or on his Instagram, and then
Right.
some other people who were working at the same gym tweeted out pictures
Right.
and stuff. A lot of the comments, there were people who were like, "Oh yeah, he lives in my neighborhood and he goes running. He's always been jacked. You guys
Yeah.
just haven't noticed. Like he's just now like toned it up more."
Well, yeah, it sounds like he brought it to the next level with Whiplash. And when I saw Whiplash, I was thinking like his posture and his physique was such a part of that Academy Award winning performance. Like I noticed, the dude was jacked in that movie, but now it looks like, listen, he's not going to be bulked out like Affleck, but he's going to be standing head to toe. That is a horrible picture right there.
That is an amazing
What you
photo
mean
right
is
there.
that I've been training with Aaron as well.
Yeah.
And just been working really, really hard.
Now, you can tell me, so you've worn this ab blaster, and is that
It gives you chest hair, apparently.
Yeah, that's I was
is
gonna
what
say.
the ab blaster does.
The problem is you forgot to dye it.
But this is how I look when I work out. My hair is just really well done and makeup on fleek. So I know that it's
crown-
possible to get this big.
So that's it. When the crown jewel of DC movie news is going sleeveless, she's got some really shredded, wrinkly prune muscle
You
arms.
guys just can't tell right now because I hide them. I actually I leave them at home before I get here. But I'm really just super yoked.
Let's just take this opportunity to say once again how great of a Commissioner Gordon he's going to be. I mean,
I have to say props to, just real quick, to Carlos in the chat for hashtag Jim Gordon, JYM. I'm like, yes, sir.
love it.
Really
Love
good.
Jim
stealing
Gordon.
that.
I completely agree, though, Adam, going back to what you just said. After I saw Whiplash, I became legitimately obsessed with him. It was kind of unhealthy, and I
Yeah.
started watching every interview he's ever done. Like he's done some 2-hour-long interviews, and I watched maybe 15 of them. This guy is awesome. Like as a human being, as a person, he's the frickin' tits. And now bringing him into the DCU, which is like everything that I want my favorite people to be involved in, He's probably one of the people I'm the most excited for. Even though he's talked about the size of his role, maybe not being huge at first, I just need him involved in our lives.
The role's not huge, but he certainly is. I couldn't see how you could do better than Gary Oldman. I mean, how do you get... Gary Oldman was like, wow.
Yeah,
you know,
totally. But you
dream
think,
casting. And like, this is like, all right, you know what? I'm intrigued. Let's talk about Under the Sea. Talking about The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, duh.
Yep.
I knew you were.
Baby, it's better. Down where it's wetter.
Under the Sea.
Take it from James Wan.
Exactly.
That was way more clever. I should have just shut up and let you speak.
She did. That's right, Elena. So James Wan actually fessed up to something. He basically, DC was courting him pretty heavily, and they gave him the choice. Did he want the Scarlet Speedster, or did he want Aquaman?
Weird.
And you know, I thought his choices were kind of interesting, but you know, he was not intimidating by the reputation that Aquaman sometimes has as being kind of a joke. Certainly that it was called out on Entourage. He also looked at it as a positive that there's less personal attachment. Like, you're not taking on Superman, you're not taking on Batman,
and you're not taking on a character that currently exists in the television.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Or has
he
existed
really
in the
felt
90s.
If you can be the one that makes a somewhat ostracized character pulled into the limelight and made really cool, then you've just become the ultimate badass.
Yeah.
Versus if you were somebody who took the Flash and then made a version that somebody might not like versus another version.
Absolutely. But I wasn't confused by his decision at all. I love the way he explained himself. I love what he had to say. I love how he made his choice. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of confused by DC's offer. You wouldn't go after the same director for these two movies, I don't feel.
Well, again, at that point, DC had much less of a focused plan. Like, they didn't have Jeff Johns in place there. They didn't have the Kevin Feige character. They didn't even know, I think, what the film was. And I think they probably talked to him about... Well, a lot of times when they're reaching out to these directors, they want the director to then present a take. Okay, so that's what gets them the job. Like, they present an idea of how they would do it. Sometimes they go so far as to actually use other films and put together like a tone piece or something like that. So it was a lot of, you know, they wanted to talk to very talented filmmakers, and he's an upcoming filmmaker. So that doesn't really shock me. Have either of you seen The Conjuring or The Conjuring 2, which comes out tomorrow?
The Conjuring.
I saw The Conjuring.
And what did you think of it?
I liked it. I'm excited to see what he's going to do with Aquaman. I mean, it's obviously a very different, you know, film, but I haven't seen Conjuring 2.
I'm hearing, I've heard such positive things
Me
about
too.
The Conjuring. Like, even people that don't like horror. And then The Conjuring 2.
I've heard really positive things about
really
Conjuring
positive
too.
things. So, I mean, you gotta just be happy that you got a great filmmaker
Yeah, if
making
you do
this
have a
movie,
great
right?
filmmaker, I completely agree with that. But you saying, oh, well, they didn't know exactly where they were going. Well, that's a big problem too. Like,
That
to
has
start,
been a big problem.
Right,
That's been
huge.
the
But
biggest
to start
problem.
courting directors when you don't know what your film is, it's like how it's kind of putting the cart before the horse, but it's also kind of like, all right, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? How do you know what kind of film you're making until you know what kind of director you have? But how do you know what kind of director you want until you know what kind of film you
But
want?
that happens a lot where
Yeah.
they'll bring on a director first also to kind of have that director shape what they're going
Right.
to do. So especially if they're going in with the mentality of there are two somewhat lesser known characters. It's not a Batman, it's not a Superman, but we want to make it that level
Which
to
is
the
a-
mainstream public.
Exactly my problem
Which
with
they can do.
what we did with Sneider.
Yeah.
Before we knew exactly what we wanted, we have him, and now we have what he created, which was a problem.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that there's a lot of potential here with this character. Jeff Johns obviously has a strong connection to the character, and he's written some of the greatest stories. So I feel really positive. It seems like Affleck loves working with Jeff Johns. I'm gonna assume that maybe Wan does too. I'm hopeful of that. So I'm really optimistic about this movie.
He seems like just such a good dude.
Yeah.
Which one?
Jeff Johns does. Like,
He
working with-
does.
He
He
does.
does.
He seems like the everyman kind of when you hear him talk. It's
He
like,
doesn't
oh.
seem like a dick. He
No.
definitely does not come
Like,
off
you
like
would
a
want to
dick.
grab a beer with him for sure.
Oh my God, I would grab so many beers with him. You know who else might be grabbing some
Swimming.
beers? And this, I think, could be a good sign. Jason Fuchs put some stuff on his Instagram that he was perusing a particular collection of, or it was a story of Lobo. And he actually put up a picture of the main man on his Instagram, rekindling the rumors that there will be a Lobo film. Now, two things. One, if he wrote the Wonder Woman script, does this tell you that maybe WB is very happy with that script and where that's gone, if they're looking to stay in the Jason Fuchs business? And do you want to see Lobo? Is it too much like Deadpool? What do you think? What's your familiarity with Lobo?
Well, more so than my familiarity with Lobo is that I think Jason Fuchs seems like a really cool guy also, and I'm happy to see that he already had work prior to Pan coming out, because Pan was obviously so negatively reviewed that it was nice that he had Wonder Woman going on.
Right.
I think that if he had made another Pan, there's no way he would be talking Lobo, so that's really good. But who knows? I think that they also thought that they had a big hit with BVS on their hands. So maybe they're reading the script and they think, wow, Wonder Woman looks awesome. That doesn't mean that it is. That doesn't
Right.
mean and I have very high hopes for Wonder Woman.
I mean, it to me, it also seems like obviously there's tremendous correlations between Deadpool and Lobo,
That's
right?
my problem, is that I feel like the studios are doing what they tend to do, where one studio has success with something that's like a lightning in the bottle situation, and they go, let's recreate it, and then miss the mark, because what makes Deadpool so successful isn't that they're breaking the comic book mold so much, because Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, and that's something that we don't see as often, but trying to take a character and say, oh, they're Deadpool-esque, let's make another Deadpool, then you're not honoring Lobo as much. You're taking a character and molding it for what you think the general public wants.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I also think, similar to Shazam, similar to all of the other things that we have talked about on the show that may or may not happen, this just may or may not
Right.
be. Johnny would be saying swerve.
I would
swerve.
normally agree with you, but I think the further along we get, the less likely people are to intentionally misdirect. And this isn't
Unless
a guy
he's The
he's not someone who's angling for a job. His name is on Wonder Woman, which comes out next year.
Right.
The fact that he's putting this out, to me, is a very serious indication
I think
that
it's
this
likely.
Lobo is going to happen. And I don't think he's going to be breaking the fourth wall, but I think it's going to happen.
I think it definitely is. I mean, I think immediately after Deadpool, that's what the studios were pushing for, were more characters like this. And so
I want to see it happening, like Bounty Hunter in space, totally whacked out film. I don't think it needs to be rated R. I'd love to hear what the comments are from people. I will admit, I'm not the biggest fan of Lobo, just by lack of knowledge. Like, I know he kind of makes fun of like Punisher, and Wolverine is inspired by that whole thing. At the time, I just didn't read a lot of Lobo.
Here's what we've got coming from the chat.
Okay,
right now.
guys, let me know.
Eric says Lobo does not need his own movie. He could show up, but come on.
Come on.
Serenity says New 52 Lobo is actually attractive and he's a cool assassin, not some dirty biker dude. Dorn Cobb says Lobo R-rated movie is loyal to the comic books. We've got a lot. There's a lot of love for Lobo in here, actually, but nobody really saying whether they think this is legitimately happening or not.
Okay,
I
well,
feel like it's going to legitimately happen. My only worry is that they're going to go to Deadpool with it and miss the mark for what makes Lobo a good character.
Well, I would assume, like, Jason Fuchs has got a good take. Again, there's that thing, is like, is there a good take on the script? If there's a good script, it will stand on its own, and that's all you can hope. But look, there's Deadpool did what it did, and you can easily come off trying to rip it off. But I don't think he'll be talking to the audience, and I think it will be grounded in his own world. But I think it definitely is a project that needs to have its own sense of humor. I know we got to move on because we want to get to talk about other things. There's just so much to talk about this week, guys.
Yeah, you tweeted earlier that you couldn't sleep because there was so much DC stuff.
Well, there was one day where it was like not even 11 a.m. and it was like everything was blowing up DC. So it's like we're not even up to all this stuff. I will say real quick item, Jude Law, really funny piece on Stephen Colbert, where he totally came up and said like they sent him the Superman costume. Bryan Singer offered him the role of Superman.
The Brandon Routh role.
The Brandon Routh role. What do you guys think of that? Do you think Jude Law could have been a good Superman?
I don't, but I don't really care. I love the way he talked about it, and maybe he would have. He's a very talented actor, but I just thought this was like adorable and silly, and I'm happy the story came out.
Yeah.
I just love him talking about when they sent him the suit and him being so worried about the suit, and then he tried it on and looked in the mirror and was like, yeah, I'm Superman. And then thought about like, oh, this is going to be on a billboard. Nope. Just immediately like.
He didn't really have a legitimate reason for not wanting it. He just like felt that he didn't.
I think he wasn't feeling the project.
He said he just didn't fancy it, which is the most Jude Law way to say.
Yeah.
You know what? And he's had some hits. He's had a lot of misses, but I think he's really talented. He's been in a lot of really good stuff. I don't know if I could have seen him as Superman. Brandon Routh was so perfect for that role. It was just a little bit of a miss. It was like what they were trying to do. Again, DC swung for the fences. Like they were like, we're going to recreate the world of the Donner Superman. It just didn't cohese as a film.
I think he's a better Adam anyway, honestly.
I do like him as Adam a lot. I feel like he's got a lot of personality. But guys, here's another thing that we're going to get to see in the movies. You're not going to have to wait until Suicide Squad to hit the theaters to see the next big DC release. And it's going to be
Excited
rated
about
R. That's right. The Killing Joke, one night only, is going to be in the theaters. What do you guys think? What is it? What's the group?
7:30, 10 p.m.
And it's a Fathom event? I don't know what that means. But I'm assuming Fathom is an organization that has events, and this is going to be one of those.
And you can fathom it.
And if you can fathom that, so ladies, I'm going to ask you point blank. Are you going to? Well, you might see the film at Comic-Con if you're there.
Yeah, maybe.
But are you going to be there if you don't? Are you going to go to the theater, or are you going to wait till it comes out on Blu-ray because you want to watch it in your favorite Batman jammies or something?
No, yeah, you gotta go.
I'm gonna go. Probably in my favorite Batman jammies.
You're gonna go
but
in the jammies.
theater.
I would go in the jammies.
Just Batman onesie in the theater.
So it's July 25th, two showings, 7:30, 10 p.m. Killing Joke, rated R. One
What
night.
day of the week is that?
Monday.
It's a Monday. Do you want to
Tuesdays
go?
when it comes out, the digital.
Okay. Do you want to go 7:30 or 10? What do you want to do? We're gonna try to do it.
10.
All right. We're going to try to do it. Stay tuned to DC Movie News. And if we can organize some kind of a thing and you want to come see it with us in our jammies,
Do a meetup or something
we'll,
cool.
we'll try to set that up. Also, on the animated news front, we finally got word that Justice League Dark is happening. Now, if you remember, it wasn't too long before the announcement of Suicide Squad that Batman Assault on Arkham came out. Is this a precursor to a potential Justice League Dark film? Or what do you think?
I don't know. It might be, it might not be. I think this is another thing that I previously called swerve on, but now it's happening. So
This was leaked because there was a listing of the Blu-ray features, I believe, on the Killing Joke, and then so the Justice League Dark preview came out. So when you go and see Killing Joke in the movies, you might see Justice League Dark happening. Now, do you think, is this going to be the next R-rated installment in the new adult DC animated world?
it maybe depends on how this one does.
Yeah, I think that they're probably gonna try to stick with that for a while and do the R-rated animated because I think that there is a market for it just because, so many people are talking about, Killing Joke and everything. So I would like to see it as an R-rated. I think it would be probably a little bit more dynamic and have a little bit more depth.
It's certainly going to have a more adult tone. Justice League Dark is fairly new. I believe it was only came with the new 52, but it certainly has a lot of great characters that we keep wanting to see. I think Frankenstein is in there. Swamp Thing, Constantine,
Swamp
Zatanna.
Thing?
Hannah, yes,
Oh,
Phantom
Swamp Thing.
Stranger.
You don't know how much
It's been a while since I've even had to nothing Swamp Thing. It's been a veritable desert for any Swamp Thing news.
The swamp
okay.
has dried
Oh,
up.
let's get to this.
Okay, we got to get to this
Adam.
next thing. Okay, this is talk about trailers. Forget Suicide Squad. Forget movies for a second. Injustice 2 was just announced, and there's a teaser trailer that we gotta watch because I can't watch this thing enough. So, yes, the sequel to Injustice: Gods Among Us was announced. We have Injustice 2. And man, one thing you do gotta say that DC has over Marvel is video games. I mean,
I don't care about this
Hands down.
kind of thing as much.
a fighting game or
and
just a video game.
Video games
Okay.
are not my thing as much. This trailer, I was like, must have, need to do. I love this. This is so bomb. So bomb. Like, gave me the tingle feels.
Yeah, this was ridiculous. It was almost like, all right, it felt very BVS too, but it was like in a way that like this is you're playing them, so it doesn't matter. Like from the opening gate, you see
Yeah.
Superman and Flash, and all I could think is like, man, Flash would be just a scarlet pudding right now if he took those hits.
I would eat some scarlet pudding.
Oh man, I would totally eat some scarlet pudding. All right, here we
Cherry
go.
on top.
All right, so
Some ice
right now it
cream.
looks like we're on Lex Luthor's computer or
Maybe
off his hard
banana
drive right
slices carved in.
there. Captain Cold's gun there, right there, right? There's a little quick teaser.
Yep.
Oh, and here's emo Superman.
Here we got there.
So in the Injustice world, Superman is the tyrant that kind of was, seen in the vision of Bruce Wayne. Oh, I mean, just right there.
Yeah,
He's a human. He couldn't take that punch.
They say that
but he did.
battle
I love
I'm getting
that.
armor up.
The armor up. It's
So good.
What? Okay, right here.
slow-mo it.
This is just a tease for a video game, but this is what I potentially see why. This is why the Flash from the TV is not going to work in the movies. I'm proposing that
Because of the
it's just
costume.
going to be so much bigger.
And like they said before, they're going to make it more like robotic.
Tech-based like that. I think there's a
tech-based,
lot of
yeah.
similarities there.
Ferocious.
So epic.
And by the way, listen, this is Bryan Cranston, I believe, doing the voiceover for
Yes.
this. So, and then Batman shows up.
Oh, hey.
He's like,
what are
hey.
you doing? What are you doing there, Bat?
He gets a trident in the backside. Arthur Curry shows up.
That's gotta hurt. Oh,
Oh, what's this?
Hunting.
Such a great meow.
oh, my face too.
Ah! Little, could be kryptonite in there.
Time I enter
You think?
Yeah. Oh,
I emerge reborn.
so this is the whole thing that's going to be about this game. These characters are going to constantly be upgradable. I was just reading an article with Jeff Johns,
Wow.
and the whole Supergirl shows up.
Evolved. Adapted.
So,
And prepared.
Oh, more
and then
of
there's a little Batman, future Batman, Batman Beyond showing up.
So cool.
So the
Just so
idea with
sick.
this game is that these characters, they're designing it to be an ongoing game, and that your characters are constantly going to be evolving and upgrading and adding. So like you're going to customize your own Flash. Elena's Flash is not going to be like my Flash after months and months of building different kinds of stuff. What is that even?
I don't know. Melted. What does melted mean?
Oh,
You're melted. Zach's melted.
Zach is melted.
My
Brain's
brain is
melted.
melted.
Oh, I didn't know what like melted could mean. Like
Could mean a lot of things. Like
like
the,
many things.
the
tech
board melted. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even a super into fighting games, but I understand. But I know Injustice has got a storyline, which really helps a lot.
so cool.
It looks so cool. I also just love how Tron-esque
Yeah.
Kryptonite
Yeah.
Batman looks.
Oh,
Like
so
just the visuals of it. You're like,
I've been reading Irredeemable. Have you ever read that? The Mark Waid book from Boom. I know I'm like only 7 years behind guys to make fun of me, but it's kind of awesome. But it's this kind of take. It's like if Superman went totally dark like this, and it's just. It gives me like agita reading it. I'm only like 4 issues into it, and like it's just
Agita.
because he just decimates the city. It's the worst thing in the world. It really is horrible. Like every other hero is completely useless and defenseless. It's like every other hero is great, but then there's like this guy who's the Plutonian. Oh my god, crazy stuff.
All right. All right.
Okay, so what
All
is
right.
that it?
All right.
Nothing else to talk about?
All
We
right.
gotta leave.
Telltale
All right.
Batman.
All right. What time is it?
I don't know. Is it?
It's time
Oh.
for Roxy Striar's TV time.
Sing along with me this time.
Roxy Striar's TV time.
She thinks that the flesh is fine.
Yeah, especially in that. Justice,
Yeah.
yeah.
TV time.
All right, here's what we got. First of all, we had one new episode this week. You guys know the only show we have on for quite some time is Preacher.
Oh, right.
And we got an episode, our second episode of Preacher, which a lot of the internet has been talking about it being slow. I really enjoyed it, but I do agree with that note. It is slow. I would say give it a couple more episodes, guys. Let's hang with it because these characters are cool, especially Cassidy, who is so freaking bomb. And I think they know where they're going, and I think they're just taking their sweet time getting there. So, you know.
That's a note though that people give for Walking Dead too. That's on AMC. That they're like it's slow paced,
And
and I feel like
Mad Men.
it's intentional.
I will
Fear.
say this though. With Mad Men and with Breaking Bad, or I guess Breaking Bad wasn't really like that, but with I liked it. I mean, I like that aspect of it because I'm so in that world. With Walking Dead too, like I don't mind because I'm so invested in that world.
But with Preacher?
With Preacher, I did want him to scoot it up a little bit.
I
need
would like a
I need you
little-
to come out of the gate and get people really in the world. And then like it wasn't even until like the end of the second episode that he figured out what he had going.
Yeah.
And like that all happens in like the first issue of the first comic that he gets.
Well, we
boy.
started in a very different place, especially with our relationships.
Yes.
You know, Jesse and Cassidy. So I'm trying not to compare it as much. They're
Yeah.
taking bits from it. They're changing it. We have Emily, who just is a completely new character.
Have you guys ever seen the TV show Misfits, the UK superhero
But
show?
he comes from that, and so does another one.
Yeah,
Of the,
Ruth
and-
Vega also.
Oh, great.
They both came from that show that I think is paced very similarly, and I don't know if Misfits was
Okay.
a reference material, but go and watch that. That is one of my all-time favorite superhero shows that's not based in a genre, and that is what gives me faith that Preacher,
Cool.
the pacing of it is going to be a good thing.
I hope so. I'm still a big fan of it. I think Dominic Cooper is such a perfect
Yeah,
choice, and I
he
did
is.
not think he was a good choice at first for
I
Jesse
agree.
Custer. And like I'm like, wow, I was wrong. I didn't know. I listened to an interview with Howard Stern and James Corden.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know they used to be roommates?
Yeah, we talked about that when I got to do the Preacher red carpet.
They
we
used to be
talked about
roommates.
that. James Corden came to root him on, too.
And apparently, no surprise, Dominic Cooper is a major coxman. Not surprised there.
Whoa. All right, guys, we have more TV news, though. Probably the biggest one of the week is the fact that Superman is coming to TV. Throw it all up.
The Man of Steel?
Yeah, so, all the first season, the whole thing about Supergirl was she was talking to Superman on her computer. She was messaging him for help.
Doogie Howser style.
But we never saw him, and they said out loud, we are not going to see him. You are not going to see him. Surprise, we're going to see him. This was really cool fan art. Superman
Of
coming
Tom
back.
Welling.
Tom Welling coming in.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I will say I think it's a huge mistake to tease Superman and not ever show him on the show. So I think this is a good idea.
It is a good idea that could go terribly wrong, but hopefully
Listen,
will go very right.
Here's the thing. I don't think it can get worse. I think this show has tremendous problems.
Supergirl?
Yeah.
Yeah, but now we're introducing. Remember, we're bringing her to CW. We're doing a crossover. Now we're bringing Superman
The
into
show
Flash and
needs
Arrow's world.
fixing. I'm all about supporting this show, but the biggest problem it has to me are the villains thing. You have that thing where you've got like all these Kryptonians that were just hanging out, and again, with reference to Irredeemable, they're just like hanging out and not doing anything until it's time to like fight Supergirl. I just didn't buy the world, and I also didn't buy that like Superman, who can just be there in an instant, would never show up there. So I just like to hear that they're doing things to course correct. I love Melissa Benoist. I like a lot of the parts of this show, but I don't think it's a good show after the first season, and I'm hoping that they can right the ship.
I'm agreeing with you on some points. I also want to welcome Alexis, who's in the chat with us. Hi, Alexis. But here's the deal. We're going to a network where we're going to have to cut the budget. So Supergirl
Hasn't been a problem for Flash, though. Does Flash look cheap? I mean...
No, but how are we going to have an episode with Martian Manhunter and Superman and Supergirl and a crisis?
There's going to be...
So...
They're going to have to parse those out. There's going to be a lot of bottle episodes. There's going to be a lot...
If they do it, and they do it well... F yeah. This is going to look so awesome. And I'm so excited because I love Superman. I want to see him on my TV screen. You guys know I love TV.
What did you think about the Tom Welling thing? Do you wish they got Tom Welling, or do you not care?
Then I think we have a big problem. Then I think we have an even bigger continuity issue.
Making Smallville into this universe that has no other references to all of these people.
And has actually references against it.
And they don't do that. More likely it would be Tom Welling showing up as like... Gangbuster or, the Guardian or some kind of like other character or something like that in the world.
Yeah. So it will be definitely interesting. We'll be talking more about it as more information comes. But that's not the only change for Supergirl. They also are doing a couple more castings. They're casting 5 new characters, including Lex Luthor's sister, some sort of... What is it? A lesbian detective, I think. A lesbian detective and a brash leading man.
Okay. Now, has there been word on confirmation on Callista Flockhart returning?
Yeah, I think she is supposed to return. I think so. I'm not positive on that one, but I'm pretty sure.
I'll be interested to know about that.
Because I know she didn't want to move.
Listen, I want it all to be good, but I got really annoyed with that show. I just because of the villains thing and again the whole setup in the prison. It felt very much like the same Flash thing. Like, oh, we have this big prison where we're just throwing all these supernatural people. And yeah, I thought Martian Manhunter looked really cool. And I don't know. I hope they can bring it around.
I feel like the first one wasn't really thought out as one collective piece, and so I'm hoping that that's what moving forward it will be.
Yeah.
Especially bringing in Superman, that it'll be. We have an arc, we have a beginning, middle, end for the season, not just per episode.
And
Do you think this is indicative of a change in policy? Because we had heard so long about how they were holding up the big Justice League players from television for the movies. Do you think this has anything to do with Jeff Johns' new positioning? Or
I would like that. Then maybe we get our Deathstroke back. Like, maybe.
What do you think? Do you think they just don't care as much? Guys in the chat, do you think?
I think they're listening to the fans who are frustrated with the fact that we have a show called Supergirl that references Superman multiple times and we haven't seen Superman. Yeah. And I think they're like, okay, we need to save the show. We're doing everything we can to save the show. We're moving it to CW. We're trying to get it in with our other DC shows, and we have to give it Superman.
Right.
I mean, look at where a lot of our news comes from, or the tweets, Reddit. It's the fans directly, and this is the era of the fans influencing what the studios are giving us for more influence than we've ever had in the past. So I think a lot of it is people saying, "We're watching this show. We were with you. We wanted to like it. give us something to like, add
Yeah.
in, make it consistent, make it whole.
Well, and it's no surprise and it's no coincidence that this news of Superman being on the first episode is an early PR push to get
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
eyeballs on those first 2 episodes.
Absolutely. And also, speaking of listening to fans, everybody was loving Vixen, watching CWC's Vixen. And Vixen is now going to be on Legends of Tomorrow as a series regular.
But
But what?
different actress.
But different performer?
I believe it is a different performer. No.
I
yeah,
hadn't-
not Megan.
They're recasting, even though Vixen already appeared on.
Yes, I believe that was the item as
Will
it
not be
appeared.
reprising role. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Wow,
gonna keep
yeah.
the character a different actress.
So now, because it's Legends of Tomorrow, that could mean a lot of different things. It could be different plane of existence,
Yeah,
different.
it could. It could. I didn't think when she was on, what was it, Arrow, or she made an appearance somewhere.
Yeah, on
And
Arrow.
I didn't think that the chemistry was right.
It felt very out of place.
So I'm not actually that surprised to hear that, but I am because I know that people really loved Vixen on CW Seed. So I don't know. Interesting.
So there've been a lot of like sort of issues with people on Arrow. Like they haven't been super up on Arrow. And I think Stephen and Mel had some comments about like the villain for next season. Yeah, like there's going to be like they talked about season 5 a little bit about bringing him back to his vigilante roots, getting away from the supernatural a little bit. What do you
Right.
think about that? They even mentioned
They-
a villain and likened him to Stringer Bell from The Wire, which a lot of people
Yeah,
thought
I
was
saw that.
bold talk.
Very bold talk. I love The Wire. They need to switch some things up very badly.
Yeah.
So I'm all for switching it up if that's what they're really doing.
I mean, honestly, look to the comics, guys. Like, I just checked out the Green Arrow Rebirth, and it's like there's a
they're
real
only looking to
specific
the
point
Batman
of view.
comics, though. That's what they look to.
It's well, they're looking to the Batman movies and things. Like a lot of the plot devices all feel like they're just boiled down and distillations of stuff that movies did better. And a lot of these superhero shows seem to be doing those same conventions, but like, no, we'll do the we'll do the TV version of it. And it does feel lazy, but it's also, like I said, it's like they have to put up so many damn episodes of these shows.
Yeah.
22, 23 episodes. It's like,
But you're using the word have to. They don't have to, and maybe they won't.
well, I think
Well,
they
they
have to
do,
because I
the
think it's what it
studio.
all comes down to the budget things. Like I would like to see 3 shows in place of just like one with 22 episodes, but then they have to cast and then they have to build the sets and the world. And I think it's just
Yeah.
easier for them to have one that just runs for a long time, but I don't think it yields the best entertainment.
Yeah. I think that we might end up seeing CW slashing the episode number. I think we might.
hope
People
so.
also are, by the way, saying that Vixen's from the past. It's a different time of
Right.
Vixen.
And it is like an amulet or something like that, so it would be passed on. That
Yep.
makes sense.
Yep. All right. That's it for TV time, yo.
All right. Well, a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of things to be excited about.
Oh, very quickly, how's Rebirth going for you, though? You just
Oh yeah,
mentioned
really quick. Rebirth. I read the first 4. So I read Batman, the Green Arrow, Green Lantern. Green Lantern's very interesting. So it looks like you have a Latina female Green Lantern on Earth and a Green Lantern, I believe, of Middle Eastern, possibly Muslim. So definitely getting the diversity on the lanterns. Hal Jordan shows up in the first episode and just basically says, yo, I got to go deal with this crisis on the other side of the universe. Here's the Justice League to babysit you. Peace out. That was interesting.
Does he say deuces?
Yeah, he does actually. Yeah, because Jeff Johns wrote on that issue. He co-wrote that one. That was I read the Batman. That looks like he's got another partner in line, but he's not a Robin. But he's wearing like a little Batman gold suit. So I don't know who this guy is. Right now, my favorite that I read so far is Superman. Just because I love the old school Superman coming back. I just love that whole story. I love the concept that Superman from another world has been living on this world, watching High Collar Superman do his thing, and then High Collar dies.
You just missed your man.
I do. I miss that classic. And Dan Jurgens is coming back to write the thing. Come on. I'm old school. I'm an old man. What can I say? I likes it. Yeah. Anything else, guys? Leave us comments. We'll be back next week to talk about more.
I want to know you guys' dream Superman TV casting. I want you guys to post
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
below.
Let us know some dream TV casting. Let's put yourself over, as Loquasto might say.
All right, guys, you can find me all over the interwebs. I am Elena Jordan, and you can find me on Twitter at Elena Jordan and on Instagram at That Elena Jordan Girl.
You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar.
I'm Adam Gertler. You can find me everywhere at Adam Gertler. Tomorrow on FX Movie Download, we'll be presenting Fast and Furious 6.
Cool.
And if you are a fan of my co-host, Sasha Pro Raver,
I am.
Her, what like the Marvel and DC movies are to me. It's like that's what Fast Furious movies are to her. So she gets very excited about it. So check it out, and we'll see you guys next time.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Kristian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.
I promise you, the dawn is coming.